next 2 hours, we got to talk. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to get it into. We brought up a long time ago, and I guess this was right when, let me see, when Jackson, Mississippi was going through it. And there were ways that they were trying to put their own judges in, even though that they were going to usurp the people's power by appointing these judges and also having them in areas that were mostly Caucasian instead of black. Because Jackson had, and I'm going to just be frank with you, I think too many black judges for some people to be saying, I'm going to court. So they found a way to put judges in place that weren't elected. They were appointed. Now, there is a story that is in NOLA.com today. It says more than 30 years ago, judicial voting districts were set up in Eastern Baton Rouge Parish to help settle a lawsuit over the lack of black judges on the bench in Louisiana. Now, a bill moving through the legislature could, for the first time, redraw those district lines. State lawmakers are considering a plan to redistrict the 19th Judicial District Court's election sections, which serve as geographic boundaries for voting for judges. The new map could significantly alter the judiciary when Baton Rouge Parish residents vote for more than a dozen state district court judges next year. The 19th JDC covers East Baton Rouge, and within the area there are currently 3 elected sections, also referred to as voting subdistricts. These subdistricts gets to choose 5 of the court's 15 judges, an arrangement that resulted from a legal settlement in the 1990s that aimed to protect black voting rights. But some lawmakers are arguing the map of judicial voting districts drawn decades ago is woefully out of date and doesn't reflect the current racial makeup of the parish. It's funny how they want to change it up when they say it does not reflect the current racial makeup of the parish. But for years, it did not reflect the current racial makeup of the parish. So the districts are, in other words, population-wise, very out of kilter, says Representative Barbara Freiberg of Baton Rouge. Said while presenting her redistricting plan to the House and Governmental Affairs Committee this month. In East Baton Rouge Parish, we redistricted over 30 years ago. And since that time, this district has changed dramatically, she said. The legislators, however, question why a change is needed, and some have raised concerns about opening the door to another lawsuit. Nobody thought it was unfair when it was only one African American and it was all white, said Representative Denise Marcel of Baton Rouge, who is a member of the House and Governmental Affairs Committee. Marcel was referring to the 1987 election of Freddie Pitcher Jr., the first black judge on the bench of the 19th JDC. Now, according to the 2020 United States Census data, there are about 457,000 people living in Eastern Baton Rouge. And of the group, 42% were white, 45% are black, And the census estimates of the parish from 2023 show a smaller population that is 41 and white is 43. I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. So why are they now looking around and saying, let's change it? Let's see, because we got just about half and half. Half and half? Y'all don't make me call Representative Marcel, because I will. So if we change it, do we then have a lawsuit to come? And I'm thinking to myself, probably. But then if we change it, are we going to change it back to the majority of judges in that arena then being white? But does it matter? Yeah, it does. Currently, there are about 289,000 registered voters in the parish. 49% of them are white, 45% of them are black. And according to the Secretary of State data provided by the East Baton Rouge Register of Voters, that's the current number. The current number and racial makeup and registered voters in the voting sub-districts of the 19th JDC includes 55,000 registered voters, 13% of them white, 83% of them black. And Section 2, 100,000 voters, 43% of them white, 52% of them black. And then in Section 3, roughly 134,000 registered voters, 68% of them are white, and 24% of them are black. So the bill is Bill 124. It's going to reduce the number of voting subdistricts from 3 to 2 if this passes. Y'all know what this reminds me of. Y'all know what I call this? I call this the current. Well, when you first get the coffee looks so hot and it looks so rich and it's so black when you first get your coffee. Then, to make it taste better, that's what they say, to make it taste better, what do? I'm going to put some cream in that coffee. I'm going to lighten it up. And I'll make that coffee taste a little bit different. Well, if I got 83% black or 52% black, all I got to do is put a little cream in there to muddy up the waters. And guess what it is? You now got you a cafe au lait. I guess that's what you got. So I'm trying to get State Representative Marcel to call us. And see, can she give us some more details? I'm telling y'all, this is just the beginning. As this happens here, it will start happening in other places. Then they're going to start talking about, redistricting. Then we're going to go back and have to draw these lines again. You thought the districting we had now was going to stand? No. There could still be 15 judges. But 7 of them might be elected from one section. And one judge could be elected at large. Freiberg said that she wants new voting districts to reflect population changes. It's just amazing to me that you want population changes to reflect those population changes right now. But you done had it your way forever and a day. And then we changed it. So now you want all of a sudden the districts to reflect population changes. An analysis of the proposal prepared by nonpartisan legislative staff using voter registration from December 2024 would create 2 election districts. 2 election districts. We are now getting ready to see why they want these 2 different districts. Not the fact that we have a district over here and a district over there. They want these 2 different districts because, check this out, roughly 125,000 voters in Section 1. 22% of them would be white. 73% of them would be black. Here's Section 2, roughly 143,000 voters. 73% of them white and only 20% black. Under the proposed plan, 51% of the parish's 457,000 residents would live in Section 1. 49% of the parish population would live in Section 2. It said, we would believe that this is a reasonable solution because of the simple fact of the demographics of Eastern Baton Rouge, said John Couvillon, a Baton Rouge-based pollster who helped Freiberg put together the plan. You're talking about districts, and we're drawn back in the early 90s, but we've never adjusted them since then. Interesting, folks. Very interesting. And here we go. We getting ready to try to change it back. The question is, are we paying attention? Are we paying attention? And how do we get the words out to our brothers and sisters? Maybe that needs to be the topic of conversation. How do we get the word out to our brothers and sisters in East Baton Rouge that they need to be paying attention to this because they're trying to change it around? Who's paying attention? Say it slow. All right, we got to take a break here. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll have some more conversation in just a minute. We'll try to get to you. 504-582-9422 is the number. More coming up.
Hello, friend. Tavis Smiley here with a special announcement. You can catch my show at a new time, weekdays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Same great topics, same great guests, same great conversations, just a little earlier in the day. It's Tavis Smiley, weekdays 1 to 4 p.m. only on WBOK 1230 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
Hi, this is Cary Grant. Let's elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events and sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join us every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Cary Show.
Hey, New Orleans, look for important changes to your natural gas service. This summer, Delta Utilities takes over for Entergy Gas with a Louisiana-born, Louisiana-based approach to safe, clean, reliable natural gas. No interruptions or rate changes due to the transition, just dependable service and modernized technology to keep you running smoothly. Get to know us at deltautilities.com and stay tuned for more later this summer. Delta Utilities, focused on natural gas, committed to New Orleans.
This summer, let your child's creativity shine at Camp Art, New Orleans' most vibrant, arts-driven camp experience for kids ages 4 to 12. Hosted by Beyond the Stage, Camp Art blends visual art, theater, music, dance, and creative writing with New Orleans history and culture. Plus, field trips, guest artists, and camper showcases. With full-day programming before and after care and sessions starting June 9th, it's the perfect fit for working parents. Fun, enriching, unforgettable. Register now at beyondthestagellc.com/campart and follow us on social media at Beyond the Stage LLC.
The New Schools for New Orleans team would like to send a huge congratulations to all of our graduates across New Orleans public schools. We wish you all the best on the next chapter in your life. Know that you are destined for greatness.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. Gerard Stevens with you. I'm trying to get Miss Representative Denise Marcel to give us a call to take part in the discussion about this. And will this affect New Orleans? And I would say yes. I don't know if you feel like I feel when it comes down to legalities, how we set the president with policy, and why we're seeing such an interest in handling what's happening here in New Orleans. So yes, I would say that it will affect us. I don't know if you paid attention to this, especially when it came down to Antoinette Frank's case. Have you all seen where not only are we saying that we need to talk to the folks because Antoinette Frank is trying not to have to go to the chamber, but it looks like to me that there's such a bigger interest from the Attorney General, Liz Merrill, in taking over this case. So let's ask the audience here, and I think that most of you will come up with that answer. Why do you think that Liz Merrill, the Attorney General, is so into or trying to take over the Antoinette Franks case? Why you think? Come on, don't sit back on this one. Don't sit back on this one. Go ahead on and give me what you think. And I can tell you what I think, but I think it's better if I hear it from you. Because it's interesting. That's number one. And then number two, I think that we've already seen what the Attorney General's office feels about those on death row in New Orleans, or from New Orleans, or those that are on death row. What you trying to say, Gerard? That's not what I'm trying to say. I want to see how you feel and what you think about it. because her case is coming in front of the court to say, hey, I got several different things that I want to present to you all, and I think y'all need to listen to me, da-da-da. But the judge has already rebuffed the Attorney General's takeover attempt. Says the judge on Thursday set a December hearing for former New Orleans police officer Antoinette Frank to fight her 1995 conviction and death sentence in an infamous triple murder. Criminal District Court Kimya Holmes also refused to allow Attorney General Liz Merrill's office or her hired private attorneys to represent the state in the case, while she denied a motion to dismiss Frank's post-conviction claims. Well, what does that mean, Gerard? It actually means a whole lot, but the legal jargon, a lot of folks may not be looking at it in the same sense. The rulings from the bench amounted to the rejection of Merrill's argument that Frank let her claims languish too long, and a rebuke of the Republican Attorney General's efforts to inject herself in the case to speed up the pace of executions since Louisiana resumed the practice in March after 15 years. A judge in Rapides Parish this week denied a similar argument from the state in the case of a death row prisoner, Larry Roy, convicted in a double murder. Louisiana Supreme Court and a pair of Cato Parish cases, that is, tore up a pair of death warrants signed this year by District Judge Donald Hathaway for not being ripe. Well, Liz Merrill has argued that Antoinette Frank and other condemned prisoners of their attorneys are to blame for prejudicial delay. By waiting to pursue post-conviction claims, pursuants have been left hamstrung to answer those claims as memories fade or die, she said. In Frank's case, Merrill office asked Holmes to allow her office to represent the prosecution and to dismiss Frank's petition. A former Capitol defense attorney did neither. In a written ruling, she found Thursday that no provision in the law and Louisiana Constitution allows for the Attorney General's participation in this case, and there is no cause for the Attorney General to assume the duties of the district attorney in this case. Oh, boy. So what did that mean? That's a big statement. Why is that a big statement, G? Y'all think about something. And think about something. How many times have we heard that the district attorney has allowed the attorney general to come in and take over some of those cases? How many times have you heard that? What the judge is saying in this case is, you, the attorney general, and you want to represent what? Yeah. You want to represent the prosecution and to dismiss Frank's petition of clemency, where she's not going to have to go to the to the death chair. She can be rotting in jail for the remainder of her life. Well, in a ruling, they found today that no provision in the law and Louisiana Constitution allows the Attorney General's participation in the case, and there is no cause for the Attorney General to assume the duties of the district attorney in this case. And I just said to myself, baby, that could be interesting too. So Watch what you're looking for, because it looks like they have tried to inject themselves into a lot of these cases, and they are not, and they're getting reprimanded. But I also look around and say, this could be the start of what we're seeing in East Baton Rouge Parish. So I can't get my way. So what am I going to do? I'm going to try to get the way that you all do this changed. Joining us now, live right out of Baton Rouge. I know she got a lot to say. Representative Denise Marcel is with us. Representative?
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. This is Gerard. So welcome to the radio show. Now, every time I see you, I be like, talk to you directly. I was like, okay, I'm gonna call you one day on the air. I just wanted you to know today is that day. How you doing?
All right. I'm fine. Thank you for inviting me to come on your show.
I was looking at this, I guess this news story talking about the trying to change of the judges in East Baton Rouge Parish, and your name is in the story as well in NOLA.com saying, y'all didn't have a problem with it until it seemed to have a racial overtone.
Absolutely.
Explain for me.
So, first of all, the bill is being brought by Representative Freiberg out of Baton Rouge, and I specifically asked her a straightforward question: what was the intent of the bill? Is it to reduce the number of African Americans on the 19th JDC and increase the white judges on the bench? And she absolutely answered in the affirmative, yes. And that's a problem for me.
Wow.
And the reason that it's a problem for me is because if we're going to go by the data, if we're going to go by the population, then what's wrong with changing the makeup of family court, where there's only one African-American district? And what's wrong with us with the 4 seats that we have on Court of Appeals? Why do we only have one of those? That's problematic for me. So in my opinion, it's very hypocritical. The votes went along party lines and racial lines in that committee. So I just challenge the need to say that we can get more experienced judges, because it kind of sounds like you're saying that African-American judges aren't experienced, and I have a problem with that.
So this kind of reminds me of what we saw happening with the appointed judges that we saw, which I think was Jackson, Mississippi, and they wanted to stop using. Now we're talking about elected judges in Jackson, Mississippi, and they're trying to usurp their power by putting their own judges in there and appointing them. Why do we have a problem with our judges in East Baton Rouge, and I'm trying to figure out most of the courts that are going to be there anyway. Did we find anything wrong with what they did with, they got to operate by the canons, correct?
Correct. So that, I don't, again, it's along racial lines, it's along party lines, and that's where we are. We find ourselves in a space where East Baton Rouge Parish has become predominantly African American, so the dynamics have shifted. So we're allowed to elect the people of our choice, and typically African Americans will choose an African American when they have the opportunity to do so. And although judges don't represent individual people, they represent the law as a whole throughout the parish. It becomes problematic now, particularly because a lot of the judges are now going also to civil bench. In the past, you notice where if you were elected as a criminal court judge, you stayed on the criminal court bench until you retired.
Right.
And that wasn't as much of a problem for them. But now those same judges are either coming in and saying, hey, I want to have both dockets. I want to have a civil docket and a criminal docket. Or when they get the opportunity, they leave the criminal bench and go to the civil bench. And what does that actually mean? It means that they will be giving the judgments for a lot of the civil cases. And so we have a lot of civil cases in East Baton Rouge Parish that are going to be heard by African-American judges. And for whatever reason, I don't know if they think they give larger verdicts. I don't know what's in their mind. I believe that all the judges are going to be fair, but apparently they don't.
So is this this would be considered as judicial redistricting, correct? Then,
Correct. So the 19 JDC
Mhm.
is now in sub-districts, and that's the way they're elected now. There's 3 sub-districts, and what her bill does is make it limited to 2 sub-districts and then run one judge at large, and they're saying that that's fair. And I specifically asked her, do you believe that that one person that would run parish-wide would be white? And she said yes. And the reason why that's important is because it's a money thing a lot of times. So it's the money. So if you can raise a lot of money, right, to run, because African Americans and whites don't run the same in elections.
Mm-hmm.
We do some of the same things, but we more have a ground game. We're on the ground. We're knocking on doors. We're going to churches.
Right.
It's a lot of that. For our some of my white friends who are judges, I have no problem with them. They send mailers because they can afford to.
Right.
And when you're running parish wide, you're never going to be able to touch those houses or those people, so you have to do mailers. That means that the cost is much higher than it is to run in a district. So naturally, if you're running against a person that's well funded, no matter their color, and they're running parish wide, you got to be able to touch those households, and they can touch those households multiple times. When there may be a candidate who's maybe more experienced, and I think I heard it best in the committee where there are people who want to be elected who never set foot in a courtroom, but you're a lawyer and you've been a lawyer for 5 years. You've never been in a trial. That doesn't mean you have the experience. That just means you have maybe even the name recognition, maybe family connected, but it's money. So you can afford to run that campaign based upon not you going to a courtroom and going through being a assistant district attorney, and not you being a prosecutor, and not you being a criminal defense lawyer and actually going through the motions and learn the talent, right, and get the skill set down. But the fact that you did go to law school, you passed law school, and you've been a lawyer for 5 years, now you can be judged.
Wow. So I'm looking around and saying to myself as I read this story, that this just reminds me of what happened in Jackson, Mississippi, and they're going to do this, I guess, start in East Baton Rouge and probably bring this around to the 3 areas of Louisiana where there is an abundance of African American judges. That's East Baton Rouge, Shreveport, and New Orleans.
Yes, sir. I would think that looks like the way that we're headed. If the one thing I would give Representative Freiberg credit for is she owned up to it and said it was about the race.
You should have seen my mouth drop when she said yeah every time you asked her the question. Yeah, so she didn't hint at, well, maybe there's something else you asked about race, and she said yeah, that's what I'm doing.
That's exactly what she's doing. So. I mean,
and she owned up to it.
My thought was there's no outcry about Court of Appeals, and she said, I want to keep these matters separate. And my comment is, I guess you would want to keep them separate. It's the same East Baton Rouge. It's the same population. Let's amend your bill to include the Court of Appeals.
So my
if
question, though,
would fair to separate the number of judges based upon the population, and it ought to be, if it's good for the goose, it ought to be good for the gander too.
Right. And she said to that, she said what?
She said, I don't want to bring that into my bill. I guess not, because it shows the hypocrisy in it. If this is the same parish, then, and you say you don't have anything against African Americans or black lawyers or black judges, then you ought to want, if you just want it to be fair, then you ought to want it to be fair in family court. It's not fair It's not equitable in family court.
Mm-hmm.
It's not equitable in court of appeals. But suddenly, because the parish have shifted and people are moving outside of our parish, and that's what's happening.
Right.
So more African Americans moving in. In fact, the way the trajectory is going, I said to her, why don't you just wait until the next census? We're 4.5 years in.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that the numbers would be even higher for African Americans in the city.
So I was going to ask you. You think that the African American numbers are going to be higher?
Correct.
Okay. But you call the vote hypocritical. Why?
Because they voted against the same measure for Court of Appeals. The same population, the same people, the same committee voted against the measure to add an African American to that bench, and it's now 1 to 3. So if you want it to be equal, why not give us an additional seat, especially since we have more of the population than you do?
But didn't we always have this problem? This isn't just for...
We've always, let me just be clear.
This goes back to the
always
state
had
Supreme.
to go to court to prove that we would get these seats. And in fact, I don't know if you were there the first week, but I typed the lawsuit, Clark versus Edwards. I was working for the then attorney Janice G. Clark. So I've been in this movement a long time. And so she was able to win only because of the preponderance of evidence that was presented, that it was unfair and difficult for African American to win a seat. That's how we came up with the sub-districts in the first place. And so once that number shifted and people started moving out, and these districts the district in the northern part of the parish was primarily white.
Right.
And when that number started to shift, then they could no longer win the seat.
Right. So where does this go now? Is this out of committee? This is going to be on the floor?
It's going to go to the House floor.
Okay.
Next.
Because I'm running out of time. What do you want the public to know about this? Because I really don't think that a lot of folks are paying attention.
Well, I mean, I think it's typical of the culture that we're in. That we want to limit African Americans from participating in the democracy in terms of voting. We want to do everything that we can. We want them to bring their birth certificate, a passport, and everything else to vote. Anything that would hinder people voting for the people of their choice,
right,
or limit that representation, I believe that's the culture that we're in.
Wow.
And it's unfortunate that we're going backwards rather than forward, but it's where we are.
Well, we're going to pay attention to it. We're going to bring it up and see where we're going to go with it. And I don't know what that culture is all about right now, but it's more damaging than anything else. So we got to do better. I'll
yes,
leave it at that.
and absolutely the first week when she passed it, it was because I brought up I believe that the bill is unconstitutional because of the ruling of Judge Parker when he made the ruling that said that they could only run in those sub-districts.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how you change a ruling. Anything outside of that would, in my opinion, be unconstitutional.
Is another lawsuit coming?
I foresee that happening, sir.
All right. Representative Denise Marcel, thank you so much. I appreciate you for picking up the phone and giving us all the details. We'll probably be reaching out with some more of these crazy bills that we're talking about every day that are coming out of Baton Rouge. So we'll see. But thank you, my dear. I appreciate you much.
Absolutely. You have a blessed day.
You too. Bye-bye. All right.
Bye-bye.
We'll take the break here. We'll take a break. We'll come back, have some more conversation in just a minute, y'all. Everybody hold tight.
This is Monica Pierre along with Sally Ann Roberts Daybone, co-host of Your Power is On.
Tune in Sunday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m. for music that feeds the spirit. Get your Sunday on.
Right here on WBOK 1230 a.m. and WBOK1230.com, the station you listen to
all day long.
Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Every Friday at noon on WBOK.
The legendary Broadway show is back. The Wiz. The Chicago Tribune raves. It's an eye-popping, high-intensity revival and a cause for celebration. The music, the voices, the legend returns. Entertainment Weekly says, run, don't ease on down to this spectacular revival. The Wiz. Playing the Sanger Theater May 13th through 18th. Tickets at BroadwayInNewOrleans.com.
WBOK and LCMC Health are proud to present Keeping You Well Cafe. 60 Minutes with LCMC Health, where the doctors speak directly to the people of New Orleans. LCMC Health is committed to improving the quality of care here in New Orleans, the Gulf South, and beyond. The Keeping You Well Cafe is another way for LCMC Health to engage with the community. At the Keeping You Well Cafe, LCMC Health joins WBOK and local businesses to answer your questions about wellness and health.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm Wendell Pierce. Thanks for making WBOK your station. WBOK.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. That don't scare you none? That don't make you like, oh my God, we need to low. What's going on? Da-da. No, nothing? That don't make nobody really understand. Maybe some folks don't understand. This was House Bill 367. Maybe we'll just read it so that you all will know what it does. Because I done got to the point now where I'm looking around and saying to myself, and the lady was brazen. The representative was brazen. Her name is Ms. Freiberg, Representative Freiberg. And she's like, yeah, we want to see some white judges in there. Yeah. No, y'all got too many black judges, and we won't see white judges in there. We don't want to see, no, we don't want to see them. We're good. Thank you, though. I'm like, damn, she said that? Like, yeah. And I mean, what you want? You want somebody to kiss you before they... Good Lord. And now they made it out of committee and get ready to hit the House floor. House Bill 367. Down party lines and down racial lines. So Representative Marcel was like, this is really hypocritical. Now, we're talking about a bill that was supposed to be for the betterment of especially African Americans, because y'all had redistrict the people anyway because they said they didn't have representation. Now they got a bill that they get ready to put in effect to say, oh yeah, by the way, it don't represent us. What? Yep, we got demographic changes. Let's see, what would be the demographic changes? Where would we see demographic changes in East Baton Rouge? Would that be like Scotlandville? Zachary? But I thought that those areas of East Baton Rouge were getting darker, not lighter. Says one of the barbershops that they're having these conversations in, Fly Barbers, is situated in a part of Baton Rouge that's south of the Interstate 12. That is the last decade spawned a handful of new businesses owned by and catered by black people. The new businesses have accompanied a wave of increasing diversity in a part of Baton Rouge that a generation ago was largely white, but it's a generation ago. The changes in few of Baton Rouge's older suburbs track national trends reveled in the 2020 census and in earlier research showing that the suburban areas closest to major cities, once built to meet the demand of white flight, have become quite diverse. I'm sitting here with a frown on my face because I'm squinching up, saying, wait a minute, let's go back to that again. Now, some of this may get past you, but I'm hoping that it's with you. If you're doing tracking, all right, let's use the word tracking on who lives where. If East Baton Rouge is anything like New Orleans, I don't know if we need to be looking at the demand of what we see with white flight. You know what I need to see? And now I know everybody's going to be like, all right, now you're talking. But you know what I need to see in New Orleans? Not a tracking of white flight. I need to see a tracking of gentrification. What? Did you say the G word? Absolutely. It's the backwards entity that makes me go, wait a minute, hold on. Don't give me numbers of white flight, because white flight means basically black people going to move into it. What I'm looking at is the number of generations that we've had black people living there now, because we've since Katrina. Let's go back to Katrina, y'all. As of August, we will have 20 years, correct? So we can use the wording that we're going to be talking about. And that wording would be, we're looking at gentrification for the last 2 decades. Decade is what? 10 years. 10 plus 10 is 20. So we're talking now about the gentrification aspect of this, because we're now looking, and y'all let me know if I'm going too deep. We're now looking at the fact that we see gentrification happening in areas of our city. I'm not even talking about Baton Rouge right now. I'm talking about New Orleans. So this is backwards to me. Look at Treme. Treme was one of the, if not the largest black community in the country. I've heard from so many folks that live in Treme is that you can't even get in Treme now because it's so much white flight or gentrification. I said, which one is it? They said gentrification. Look at the Lower Ninth Ward. Who would have ever thunk that the Lower Ninth Ward would have been in a situation where we use the word gentrification? Is it the fact that we have a part of the of the city that people are knocking you down to move in? Or is it the fact that we have folks that got money that are trying to get dollars from Daddy Wobucks or whoever they getting their money from to go in and buy up land in areas that they think is cheap, develop it, live in it, or either sell it for a higher price to make some money? Ain't that how it's always been? Mr. Elmo.
How you doing, brother?
Good. How you doing?
You make some very good points, and that's not only a city issue, a national issue. Because if you can remember, Clinton had moved the office in Harlem, and even though they loved the president moving in Harlem, the problem was the prices of those homes went up so tremendously that people were losing their homes.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you to understand, I mean, and I know you do, I'm a New Orleans, been all over the world, I lived in New Orleans all my life. I lived next door to white folks. White folks started moving. If someone around my age, they could kind of clarify what I'm saying. White folks started moving out New Orleans. I say basically when the civil rights legislation with Johnson started moving in and white folks started seeing there were certain things they didn't like in terms of schools, education, churches. They didn't want to go. They didn't seem to want to be around us when it came down to housing, schools, and everything else. They started moving out. Now, the thing that's funny to me, because I talked about this to some white folks, and they agree with me. I said, I met some white folks. They were from Denver, moving in the quarters, and it was amazing what they said. Very nice people. And I said, it's amazing. I say, you from Denver? I say, and you move in New Orleans like you are native. I say, when I first started talking to you, I had to think. I said, oh, you're a native or not? He said, oh, no, we're from Denver. So what I'm saying is, how do you break our culture? Now, it's amazing how people from all over the country, white folks, move in New Orleans. And they almost embrace our culture, love our culture. You know, like you said, they've taken over Treme and going those the night wars. That was historically black neighbors. But Gerard, I lived in New Orleans all my life. Mm-hmm. You had white folks all over New Orleans. Mm-hmm. They just taking advantage. They want to move back for whatever reason. Now, let me tell you what's amazing about this. I told the black folks that's going to Slidell. Now, let me tell you something, man. I'm not against white folks. I'm not going to a redneck. Please forgive me. That old white folks are rednecks in Slidell. I'm not going to a place like Slidell where I know they don't like me.
But there is a big black contingency of people that are moving to Slidell. They're leaving.
And I'm not mad at them, but I mean, I talk to black folks and say, I mean, I've talked to some black folks candidly, and they have a little money too, and they say, man, you can see where they resent us being here, but they can't do nothing about it. But to me, I don't want to force myself on you. I mean, don't get me wrong. You have a right to move and live where you live.
I tell you what,
there won't be around people that won't be around me.
I tell you what, hold that thought. I don't want to hang up because I want to talk to you about some issues that are coming up, and I hope that people are paying attention to it. So hold on a minute. Don't hang up. I want to talk to you more.
Yes, sir.
All right, more coming up, y'all. We got to do a little break here real quick, do some news, and we'll take some more telephone calls at 504-582-9422. More coming up next.
From the campus of Xavier University, WBOK Go and Equity Media Station.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. President Trump will meet with South Africa's president next week amid claims of genocide against white Afrikaners, which South Africa denies. The visit aims to reset U.S.-South Africa relations. This comes after 59 white South Africans were admitted to the U.S. as refugees. Black Maryland Governor Wes Moore has passed a law to fund abortion care using money from ACA insurance surcharges. Starting July 1st, about $25 million will be available, with $3 million annually after. Supporters say it expands access without using taxpayer dollars. And Black Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser is expected to submit her 2026 budget by month's end. After a private meeting, Council Chair Phil Mendelson said it's heading to the CFO for a 10-day review. Bowser blames Congress for the delay, citing needed cuts due to stalled funding. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, right back at you. Thank y'all for being a part of the conversation on today. I think it's very interesting as you get off work here. 5:01 is our time. Please be driving with care and slow down. You're going to get there, y'all. You're going to get there. Mr. Elmore, you still with me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry you had to hold on here, but we had to
play
the news.
Fine. It's a pleasure.
So one of the things, too, that I look at when we start looking at data, when we start looking at the census reports, when we start looking at what the data center is telling us, that we got so many different folks that are leaving the city and not returning. So instead of our economics growing, we're seeing a big contingency of African Americans that are leaving the city. And one of the things, too, that you go, when you look at that data, you start going and say, hey, let me look at this. Where are the numbers growing? And what you see are side cities, the St. Tammany parishes, the the St. John the Baptist parish. You start looking at these other parishes that are now seeing an influx of people that are moving there instead of their numbers either staying steady or lessening. So it proved to me that African Americans were leaving New Orleans, but the contingency plan was to, at some point, I thought, was to come back, but it's not. What we are seeing now is a new generation of folks. Remember, I said, I don't know if you were paying attention when I said what we can say now is we've seen things change in the last 2 decades, because since Katrina has now been 20 years, we're seeing that there is an influx of other parishes, but a decrease here because I guess more so than anything, the cost of living is going up, and there is a big, I'm trying to figure out where this was. There's a big article in one of the more familiar magazines that's telling us that folks that are in their 20s and 30s are saying that the home dream, or the dream of owning a home, to them is unreachable, is untouchable. They're not going to be able to do it, so they're thinking about, if I want to do it, I need to do it somewhere else. I can't do it in New Orleans. The price of that apple pie and baseball and all that is gone so far up. We can't play baseball. We playing foosball because it's costing too much to live here. Not only that, are you getting the return on your investment? Nope. Because you're telling me I got to pay a whole bunch of money to live here, and we're looking at the utilities, we're looking at what we're going to be charged to live here. Everything got a higher price than other places. But my question to you is, then I'm going to be quiet. Do you think that's intentional?
I think so. And let me now let me more. It's just amazing what you just said. I hope I'm on the same ballpark of understanding with you. Now, just what I was thinking as you were talking. I was listening. It's amazing how I don't see whites locally or whites who came from other parts of the country move here. You don't hear these white folks ever complain about schools and whatnot. They go to the best private schools. Matter of fact, they go to the best charter schools. I mean, they live in a nice neighborhood. They got police and fire protection, good garbage collection. You don't hear them complaining. We're the ones seem to be complaining, and no, we're complaining for good reasons. I mean, sometimes I heard don't let it be in the military. We call bitching. They say you're bitching, but you don't really have no substance on what you complain about. But we have a lot of bees to complain about. We have substance to say, hey, police, fire protection, decent schools, decent housing, decent parks for our children, and we're taxpayers. So I don't think we excuse my language, bitching at all. But I find it so amazing that white society that lives here, and you have quite a few of them, you don't hear them talking about schools. You don't hear them talking about police, fire protection. You don't hear them crying. And we are crying for a reason, Gerard. So I think it's so interesting what you're saying that the people living here, and a lot of white folks moving here, they love the city. They love everything about it. And here we natives. I'm not gonna be. Look, I live in New Orleans. I live in New Orleans East. New Orleans Easterner. I'm proud to say that. And you could need a brick wall. You could put a gun in my head. I ain't leaving New Orleans East because I see the future where I live. I think the future on what the new developments with Troy Henry's will be very fantastic for our neighborhoods. It's gonna increase our property, and we're gonna have better schools and everything. That's the future, and I believe what they're doing is a good concept for other things to happen if we stick with it and don't move out saying we got to move out. I don't feel like I got to go to Chalmette, brother. I don't want to go to Chalmette. You can't put a gun on me to go to Chalmette. I ain't going to Slidell. I ain't going to Mandeville. I ain't going nowhere but stay in New Orleans East. I love my city. I love my state. I love my community, and I ain't going nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do think that there is a effort. I don't want to say a strong effort, but I'm going to just say an effort to make sure that areas like New Orleans East Number one, can't look around and say that the property values are sky high. I think they have kept it down for a reason. I don't know if it's because, folks are saying we're going to do you a favor so you can move out here and get a house, or are they doing it now because somebody's talking about it like me? But if you live in New Orleans East, you more than likely will see that your house has not increased in value like you thought it was going to do. Why is that?
Well, again, I think what it is, it's a trap. Please forgive me. If you're very educated, you understand how the games are being played.
Mm-hmm.
I think I understand it too. If you're naive and you think the grass is greener, you might fall for the foolishness and leave where you're at. I say this: I can't make you stay, can't make you. Whoever's listening, please understand what you're saying, because you make a lot of good points. Stay where you at, brother. It's gonna be better. I think it will be. I'm confident it's gonna be better.
But when?
And like I just,
but when?
Well, Jerome, I think when the new developments with Bayou Phoenix and all that, I think it's going to really help improve our areas. It really will. I mean, I'm very confident it's going to happen. That's the biggest development in New Orleans East. I can't remember the big development like that happened. So I mean, I think it's going to happen sooner or later, and I'm confident that the brother's going to be very successful, and whoever be around him is going to make him successful.
I just think that no, I'm not questioning about if it's going to be successful or not.
Right.
What I question is the folks that's on the other side that are saying, hey, it's too many of y'all in an area where we are the majority. How do you tell a person, okay, so I went back to East Baton Rouge for a minute. How do I tell a person that it's too many of y'all? Because they looking as prejudiced as they want to be. And honestly, the lady basically told Representative Marcel, yeah, that's why I'm bringing this up, because I want some white judges.
Well, Gerard, I mean,
but for the years,
the thing is,
but think about it though, for the years and still years, how many places can you go in Louisiana and tell somebody that we got black judges? It ain't too many places that we have black judges. Now you're telling me we got too many of them?
Well, Gerard, it's a game. Look, listen. I live in New Orleans all my life, man. I've been all over the world. The bottom line is, you take like Claiborne Street, okay? You go down Claiborne, they have the TJ Maxx's and all kind of shops that we never even had in New Orleans East. And I'm sure they got more black homeowners and people with money that will buy the same from the same type of stores. So I think, the sad thing about it, the white folks moving, where they got white folks moving at, now you call me a racist, I ain't. They got subdivision, they have areas in New Orleans where the white folks are moving in, then they start building for them. They don't give a rat's butt about us. I mean, that's wrong. But I think it's a conservative error to get the discussion. Oh, I got to go to Slidell. Oh, I got to go to Charlotte. I told you, I ain't going nowhere, bro. I'm staying where I'm at.
So
I'm going to support the black folks that has businesses, restaurants, that I can support to help them. I'm going to try to do my best to support black-owned business. I ain't no racist, man, but I want to support my people.
All right,
but again, if you fall for it, I'll use a lot of bamboozled. Shame on you.
So I guess more so than anything else, though, Mr. Elmore, it's what I was trying to make sure that people understood what this judicial redistricting is looking like now, because there's redistricting as far as the district is concerned for boundaries on your lines, but there is a judicial redistricting that is now taking flight and taking off. And if we don't start looking at the judicial redistricting, what we're going to have is a whole bunch of judges in civil and criminal court that don't look like us. We don't know where they're from, that are coming to town and going to lock you up because they don't have a personality conflict with you. They don't have nothing wrong with them and you. They just don't give a damn that you don't look like them. So goodbye. See you later. We're going to lock you up. And that's it.
Well, let me mention one thing that I do understand. You never mentioned it, but I know you know. The only parish Oh boy, the only parish in the state of Louisiana that had a black president and black sheriff, St. John, brother. Now that's another parish that we don't mention enough that has a lot of black folks. And again, if you remember now, St. John, listen to me good and listen to me well, listening to all these. St. John, all these parishes, was the only parishes that Obama won. And Harris. So again, I think what it is, they had people that they worry about us, they're planning on us when we sleeping, and we don't have a clue, some of us. But you do have a clue. That's why you're discussing it on your radio show. And I just hope to God, please forgive me, that people like myself that think I know a little something, please listen to what you're saying, brother. I ain't blowing smoke over you know what.
Well, no,
but I give you some credit, brother.
I think we got to go a little bit deeper than just those two parishes, and put in perspective the other part, and that was the fact that all these folks got up and voted, and we were the only two parishes that voted for Kamala or Obama, because that's not the entire truth. There is this demon that we have yet to begin to fight, and fight enough that we can say, oh yeah, by the way, we also got low voter turnout. That's the demon.
Very true.
And when you start looking at the percentages of folks that are going to the polls compared to not going to the polls, sometimes it's sometime you got to look at it and say, oh, okay, cool. We did a good job. We did a good job for the amendments, but we did a bad job for the personalities.
Very good point. Very, very, very good point you're making. The point you're making, look at the people who didn't vote. That's very, very good point. Appreciate you saying that.
So, I mean, but that makes a big difference when you're trying to make a movement and trying to make a movement so that everybody will understand. I can tell all the people in the world, here he is or here she is, let's vote for her. But if you ain't showing up at the polls and you ain't talking about what your district does, what time do you need to be there? Are you going to do early voting or are you going to do the day of? We don't talk about those issues enough, but we need to.
Yes, sir.
So that's my soapbox.
Well, the thing. No, that's not a soapbox. Look, I think, Jerron, and I heard you say this, and you know what? You really made me think that you said, and I could quote what you said. You said, you know what? I'm getting really sick and tired of standing up for folk, standing up for people, organizations, and when I look around, I ain't got no backup.
Yeah.
And that's sad. I understand. Look, I feel you. And the thing about it, man, when I talk to young people, and you ought to see the expression they get on their faces. I say, look, young lady, you're the fruits of our generation of African American women. You are a hero. Look, young man, look at yourself in the mirror. You are a man. You are a hero. Mm. Look at yourself. Stand up. You're gonna be our leader. So let's act. You say you're a leader, act like one.
Well.
Portray yourself like
we
one.
Can say that all we want to. They don't care. Huh? They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. I'm sorry.
You don't think they care?
I have no, I guess, oomph in this story to make me think that somebody really cared. They don't. Only thing that's going to make somebody care is because Trump done already said it, and it's coming down the federal pipe. And that is, y'all getting ready to lose your EBT cards. You're getting ready to lose your money to do some type of rental assistance. You're getting ready to lose both of them. And I think that is going to ignite somebody to get out when you can't go get your groceries or you no longer have money to put on an apartment. That's the only thing that I think is going to wake somebody up.
Well, Gerard, I'm going to use, thank you. I'm going to use my Paul's line, my dad's line. He used to say, he used to tell me when I was a kid, you know what I mean? Elmo Jr., do you need a brick wall to fall in your head for you to wake up? Well, maybe that's what they need more than a brick wall.
Yep.
So, I'm going to leave it at that,
Yep, that's it. They need a brick wall that they can run into and do some damage to themselves. Because instead of standing up and trying to learn how to do this line dance, I still have not learned how to do it. Are we learning what these House bills are going to affect with you? Because they're not writing bills out that's going to help me and say, I'm going to get you this, I'm going to get you that. Mm-mm.
No, they're not.
Ours is more so bull crap. And you trying to figure out what I can do. No, that's not going to help you.
Well, the reality of it, Gerard, is that white folks are saying it. They say, why are you so naive? What he said, what he was saying, what he's going to do is what he's doing. So don't be naive to be stupid like you don't know what he said he's going to do. He told you what he's been telling you what he was going to do. So why you naive and super stupid like you don't understand what this man's trying to do? The man said what he's going to do.
Yep.
So, well, you better wake up.
Yeah, he already said, and look, he ain't lying. I guess telling
no, he ain't lying.
I guess telling the truth is a part of the package.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it is what it is right now. I'm just looking to see what the caucus, NAACP, SCLC, vote. I can go down the list of community savers of what they need to get done now, and then be able to sit back and get done later. I got a whole list of it. But until it's implemented and somebody can go in and say, let's get it, it'll just sit there.
Yeah.
It'll just sit there. So, but
all
thank
right,
you,
brother.
sir.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you much.
All right, buddy.
Talk
Thank
to
you,
you later.
Biden. All right, buddy.
All right. You want to take the break? All right, let's take the break. We'll take the break here. We'll come back. Don't forget at 6 today, it is Arnie and Carrie. I almost said it ass backwards. It is Arnie and Carrie. They'll be here at 6 p.m. this evening with more conversation, y'all. More coming up.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat, brought to you by Lowe's.com. Former Baltimore Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake says we have a big housing crisis brewing in America.
We're short in this country over 5 million homes, and we're not going to close that gap by doing what we did yesterday or a decade ago. We have to think critically and with more innovation around how to build more, how to build faster, and how to build better.
That's Rawlings Blake speaking to Bloomberg while at the 28th Annual Milken Institute Global Conference in Beverly Hills. She's working to address the housing crisis with Airbnb as chair of the Airbnb Housing Council. Using her experience as a former mayor, Rawlings Blake says thinking differently about vacant homes is one solution she'd like to see more cities use.
Yes, they're a blight, but they're also an opportunity.
I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Hey everybody, it's Graylin Bryant Banks
and Kimber White Dupree
from the front porch.
Some combos are too good to miss. Now you can pull up a chair to the front porch anytime.
Just search WBOK Media and subscribe to the Front Porch Podcast.
Download, share, and hit us with a 5-star rating because New Orleans culture deserves to be heard loud and clear.
Connect with NOLA Public Schools. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X for the latest updates. Sign up for District Digest, our official newsletter where we share district achievements, celebrate student successes, and keep you informed about our vision of providing a high-quality education. And don't miss our school board meetings. Watch in person or live stream on YouTube. Stay informed, stay engaged. Visit NOLAPublicSchools.com today. Again, that's NOLAPublicSchools.com.
Hi, this is Arnie Filko. Let's elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events to sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join Carrie and I every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Carrie Show. See you soon.
Do you know what United Way can do for you and your community? Find out by listening to United Way and You every Thursday at noon on WBOK 1230. United Way continues to fight for the most vulnerable members of the community. Find out how this Thursday and every Thursday at noon.
At New Orleans East Hospital, we believe healthcare should come with heart. Located at 5620 Reed Boulevard, we proudly serve the New Orleans community with compassion, courtesy, and a commitment to excellence. From healing to education, we want to be your trusted healthcare partner that's close to home. New Orleans East Hospital, delivering a culture of healthy care.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Here we go.
The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. You are about, 37 minutes away from Arnie and Carrie coming up today at 6 o'clock. I'm feeling a little drained today. I thought it was the weather, but I'm feeling drained today because it broke my heart to hear that the young lady who was fighting for her life after being struck in the head in Algiers is now brain dead. The family has confirmed that 9-year-old who was shot in the head during a shootout in Algiers is brain dead. Little Leilani Brooks, age 9, was outside playing with her friends outside of her apartment complex on Monday when the shootout was reported. And according to the New Orleans Police Department, she had also been on life support for days. Police say the shooting happened around 1:52 p.m. in the 1600 block of Elizardi Street. That's Elizardi Boulevard. Brooks rushed inside the apartment to protect her sister from the gunfire when a bullet went through the window and struck her in the head. According to U.S. Marshals, Evan Rogers, who's 18, was arrested in connection with the shooting at the motel because they went and got him. U.S. Marshals say Rogers faces attempted second-degree murder, which is probably going to be taken up now to murder, illegal use of weapons, and dangerous instrument charges. NOPD Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick says more suspects are being sought in the shooting. More suspects are being sought in the shooting. Have you all noticed, and God rest her soul, and to our family, we grieve with you. God rest her soul. She a baby at 9 years old. Ain't even beginning to start living yet. And here we go with some old stupid crap. Y'all shooting at each other, and it's the innocent folks that get caught up in this little war y'all think y'all having. Y'all ain't having no war. Y'all can't even shoot. These boys spraying. They just spraying. They can't shoot. You won't shoot? Get in the military. They teach you how to shoot every single day. You can go shoot and protect the United States of America. Go do that. But y'all killing us. Let me say that again because maybe you didn't hear me. Y'all are killing us. What for? Because he stepped on my toe. Because he got my product. He on my territory. And then don't none of you own nothing. Now, this family has lost a pivotal piece of their family. They lost her because she was going to protect her sister. And now you're trying to tell me that the other family of law, your family, Evans Rogers, they getting ready to lose you because you're going to jail forever. You just became part of the statistics. You just became a part of it. And if you don't care, because I was looking at some of the signs on your face, and I was looking at some of the issues that you had too on your jacket. I am noticing, y'all, and it might be because I'm paying too close attention, but it might be the fact that this is the truth and nobody else has the, I guess, the balls to say it. Are you all noticing that there is I don't want to say click, but a click of gunfire that's happening here, and nobody's really saying it. This seems to be gunfire now 2 and 3 times a day. As they said in the rap song, they shooting. Have you noticed that nobody's saying anything? They'll tell you about the story. They'll have Ann Kirkpatrick stand in front of the microphone, and she sits there and tells everybody this is a tragedy. I am so sorry. But is anybody in the reporting field saying, hey, excuse me, we have noticed that there's an influx of shootings that are now starting to happen? What is going on? Is this the weather? Is this they're out of school? Should we expect more? And are you speaking to the people that are on their way to wherever and innocent and end up caught up in a drive-by, caught up in a tussle, caught up trying to protect your baby and you a baby and getting shot? Because every week now, and I'm not just talking about Jefferson Parish. Orleans Parish. I'm talking about Jefferson Parish too. Jefferson Parish got it. But I hear you that have the microphone talking bad about other issues, but I have not heard you say, hey, what's going on with the law enforcement around these areas? Are they being visible? Because we've got a lot of shootings that are happening right now. Excuse me, Ms. Kirkpatrick, can you comment on that? Excuse me, Mr. Gornetti, can you comment on that instead of all the bull crap you talking about? I need you to tell me what you're telling folks. Hey, you need to be careful. You need to be inside at this time. Is there still a daggone conversation piece that you're having about the kids that need to be inside at 8, 9 o'clock at night, and they can't go in the French Quarter? Are you enforcing it? Because every time that I turn on the television now and I'm hearing somebody got shot, they 16. The ones that's doing the shooting is 16. The ones that's doing the shooting is 18. Y'all think about something. This little 9-year-old girl that got killed with a bullet that came from Evan Rogers' gun. He 18. But we got to do better. Say the truth, tell the truth, and shame the devil. We are now in a situation around here where we're seeing an influx in shootings, and we don't know what it's for. Or we do know what's happening. We do know what's going on in the community. We knew a long time ago what was going on. We knew that when it gets hot outside that these things start happening. But don't just tell me everything's good or that the numbers are going down. Does that make sense? Don't tell me that the numbers have gone down. Who cares that the numbers went down from last week to this week? Well, we see where the numbers have gone down. Okay, you saw where the numbers gone down. But I'm talking about this shooting. You got cones down on the street. Let's talk about this one. Let's talk about this police officer who went for the ride of her life trying to save somebody, and the guy got her on the outside of the vehicle about to get her killed, and she had to shoot him. Why did he hesitate and take off? What startled him that way? He was dead. And she brought him back to life with Narcan. Hello? This thing on? It don't affect you? Think again, because it does. It affects you. It affects your wife, your husband, your kids. Y'all wait till this evening. You got probably like, 30 more minutes when you get home. When you get home, for tomorrow, here's your assignment. I want you to turn on the local news. I ain't going to tell you which station to turn on. But when you turn on the local news, take a look at what comes on the news first. Oh, they're going to do the weather. But they're going to talk about the shootings that happened throughout New Orleans in the first 5 minutes. And if it bleeds, it leads. If I told you this is going to sound very terrible. Please forgive me for my behavior on this graphic moment that I'm getting ready to put on. This is graphic. If I told you to dress your kids up, make sure they wash their teeth, brush their teeth, washed up, comb their hair, got the clothes on, they look sporty. If I told you not only get them dressed and feed them well for breakfast, but to go head on and kiss them before they leave the house, because they ain't coming back. As a matter of fact, they're going to be the number of the day. They're going to be the ones that's going to die. If I told you that, and it did happen, what would you look at? Would you be looking at me? Would you be looking at the situation? Or would you be looking at well, they'd probably be looking at me saying, well, how did you predict that? And you shouldn't have said something like that, yada, 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 yada. But how many of our parents look at something like that when you walk away from your child and say, see you later, mama, when they were walking to school or getting ready to get on that bus? How many of you had to look at your child's situation that way? I don't know. Hey, Miss Harrell. Miss Harrell?
Yes, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Okay. You know, everybody has a story. I have 500 stories, and I'm just I'm sitting here on the couch listening to you and about gentrification. It's going on all over the country. And I'm in an area right now where it's really taken off. I just wanted to tell you, if you come to Los Angeles, I was downtown a while ago, and we needed some gas for the Jeep.
Mm-hmm.
So my son started to pull in, and the gasoline was $700. Wait. I'm old. Oh, remember, $7.85 a gallon. So anyway, when you come, bring both of your billfolds. But I want to chime in on, you know, poverty generates, in a great many cases, death. And the young people that are doing this shooting and all of that, it's a lack of knowledge and the right socialization. So real estate, and you know, I holler at you about real estate all the time, and we do it in the South and a few places. And I find the Black people are uneducated as far as real estate is concerned. Now, I would suggest people like you and Suzette and different others that have knowledge, if you would bring these young people together and teach them something about economics and whatnot, they will have a far different life. So I was there in New Orleans in 2007, or 2007, or however you put it. And I ran across young people that had no idea what they wanted to do with property. Some of them sold property to get a car. And I've been to Home Depot, talked to a young Black fella. His grandmother, I think it was, left him real estate, and he told me he did not want it. And I run across Black people, and I told you I'm kind of Black, that the value is in the land, and they have they don't relate to it, not at all. So it bothers me, because every day that I wake up, and we get one day at a time, my efforts are to have my generation live better than I live. And I put real estate together for them. So what I'm saying, it's a lack of knowledge or just pure ignorance that Black people, on the whole, don't relate to real estate. And the people that taught me real estate, they said in 50 years, and that was 50-some years ago, they said the day is coming when the average person will not be able to buy a house. And you talk about gentrification, it's going on big time here. So neighborhoods that I thought that, well, let me back up. Neighborhoods that so-called white people ran away from years ago are coming back, have come back, and they get together and they work together. They buy blocks of property. Whereas real estate, and you know, I keep hollering about it, you were talking about Black business and all of that. Real estate is something that you can get into, and it's just the best thing in the world as far as I'm concerned. Now, I was at an air show, and I met some Black people, and they buy real estate all over the world, not only in this country, but all over the world. So it bothers me. It really does. But because I'm burdened for the generation that's coming behind me. And I'll repeat, we only get one day at a time. And when I wake up, I'm working to make those coming behind me. Life has been good for me, if I'm allowed to say that. And I want it to be better for them than it is for me. And it's just the key thing is a lack of knowledge. So, and I was telling you the other, you had this lady on that does credit and all of that kind of stuff. I was telling you the other day, which you can buy real estate and don't have a dime's worth of credit and been in jail for 10 years. You can do it. So anyway, we do it, invest in Mississippi, and different places, Texas and different places. And then people, you have to, what I'm saying is people, you have to plan your life. And the opposite, you have the scum of the earth in the White House. Somebody that should be in jail without the possibility of parole. Now, the way he got, everything is powered by something. And he's powered by racism. And here you have instances that people that was just over television, an Asian man, which was a professor at a college here. One of these poor whites really, how can I say it, messed him up. He's in the hospital. And he said the racial slurs that were against him and just devastated him. See? So what you got to understand, you got to know who your friends are and who your enemies are. And you will have these people, they exist. And you got to train the young people as to I was trained as to what I would face in life. So anyway, I'm just seated here on the couch listening to your program.
All
so
right.
I thought I should just holler at you for a bit.
Good enough.
So,
I got you.
Yeah, okay. So it's a lack of knowledge.
All right.
That is the problem.
Got you. Thank you, Mr. Harrell. We'll talk to you later. All right, there you go. Lack of knowledge. You want a break? You want to take a break? All right. So here we go. My point of blame. I don't want blame. I don't want to point the finger and blame anybody for what we don't know. Even though that anybody can take the rap for that, I could take the rap. You could take the rap and what we haven't done and what we do, but how do we fix it? You know, my point of how do we fix it? Because nobody wants to continuously hear, oh, you didn't do what you didn't do, you didn't do, we didn't do, we didn't do. And by the way, did I say we didn't do? We want to be able to hear that we are getting ready to do or we are doing. So that's where I think that we got to go. We got to go now. All right, coming up, we'll get you ready for the remainder of the show. We'll tell you about that and get you ready for tomorrow, because tomorrow is Friday. It's Friday, and that means that we're going to get you ready for the weekend. We got more coming up in just a few minutes. Everybody hold tight. You don't go nowhere. And don't forget at 6, it's Arnie and Carrie right here on WBOK.
AURN News.
I'm Ebony McMorris. Republicans are moving fast to push the One Big Beautiful Bill by Memorial Day, a massive $10 trillion mix of tax breaks, benefit changes, and border spending. On taxes, they'd make Trump's 2017 cuts permanent, plus exempt tips, overtime pay, and up to $10,000 of interest on U.S.-built car loans. They'd roll back Biden's clean energy credits to help cover roughly $3.7 trillion of that cost. Families under $400,000 would see the SALT cap jump from $10,000 to $30,000, and seniors could deduct up to $4,000 of Social Security income. Now, for food stamps, states would start paying 5% of benefit costs in 2028 and 75% of admin expenses, while work requirements stretch up to age 63. Medicaid would add strict work asset tests, risking coverage for at least 7.6 million people. For AURN News, I'm Ebony McMorris.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
I'm sure y'all noticed the arrival of dozens of white South Africans granted permission by President Trump to resettle in this country as refugees persecuted in their country. Ironically, Trump and his administration claim that white Afrikaners are facing a genocide. Those claims have been strongly refuted by the South African government. The move by Trump has faced significant criticism for prioritizing white Afrikaners based on race, though his administration argues that other minority groups can be considered. Read that as anybody but black South Africans. Trump told reporters he offered safe refuge for the Afrikaners because they were being victimized, and he feels the same about anyone, black or white. Well, Mr. President, try telling that to the many thousands of black and brown people who are being victimized. People you won't provide the same refugee status in the United States. It sure seems that Mexican, Chinese, Haitian, and other non-white people are being treated differently. But I'm sure those unfortunate people don't have South African Elon Musk lobbying on their behalf. Musk, as you know, contributed $250 million to Trump's presidential campaign, and as a result, he's been granted non-elected co-president, world ambassador, and commerce and economic policy advisor status. Both Trump and Musk possess rather dubious opinions of we ebony-shaded human beings. Trump has consistently lobbed denigrating insults at black people, especially towards black women. A recent Huffington Post editorial listed the results of a survey in which ChatGPT was asked to list the number of people that Trump has called individuals of lower IQ, and you know, it's pretty racist. Tops among the list being targeted are former First Lady Michelle Obama, former Vice President Kamala Harris, and Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, for whom the president has lodged his latest attack, calling her a lowlife and definitely a low IQ person. Now, to be sure, Trump has leveled insults at whites too, but he tends to downgrade the intelligence of blacks more often. We've seen this movie before. It's as old as slavery and Jim Crow, and it's a reminder that tyranny never dies. It thrives on the absence of democracy and those who would fight to preserve it. If the president is basing the welcoming of white South Africans on perceived persecutions, maybe he should visit the National Museum of African American History and learn about the persecution of our people. This is Norman Robinson, Off the Top.
New Orleans, are you ready? A fresh voice in the city is here, bringing you the beats, the culture, and the stories that matter. From local music and food to real talk on what's happening in the streets. We've got you covered. Stay tapped in. Follow us on all platforms at WBOK 1230 for the latest updates and exclusive content. Your city, your culture, your news. Don't just hear about it, be about it. Follow WBOK 1230 now.
Are you passionate about community safety and police accountability? Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Get the facts and stay informed. We're breaking down complex issues, highlighting community voices, and holding people behind the badge accountable. Join us for an informative hour every Friday at noon on WBOK. Your city, your police, your show. The Monitor's Mic.
The legendary Broadway show is back. The Wiz. The Chicago Tribune raves. It's an eye-popping, high-intensity revival and a cause for celebration. The music, the voices, the legend returns. Entertainment Weekly says, run, don't ease on down to this spectacular revival. The Wiz. Playing the Sanger Theater May 13th through 18th. Tickets at BroadwayInNewOrleans.com.
Saints of God, it's time for us to tell you the truth. It's time for you to start your 21-day challenge. Don't take another day. Do it right now. Call 504-701-4711. That's the Whole Water Stove, Pastor David Impartian Sr., the host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. This is the water that's designed to change your body, the way you think, the way you act, and the way you look. Why don't you start your 21-day challenge today? For $35, you can start it right now. Call me so we can set up your appointment. 504-701-4711. That's 504-701-4711. Change your water, change your mind.
Hello, I'm Gary Clark. Please tune in to Dr. Clark 101, The Living Classroom, which is broadcasted weekly every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. on WBOK 1230 a.m. on your dial. And as always, it's been a pleasure.
When you talk, we listen. WBOK.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks. Tomorrow's show going to be interesting. I need to talk about something that I'm seeing, and are you seeing it too? And that is the Orleans Parish judge dealt a blow to Attorney General Liz Merrill today in her attempt to push former New Orleans police officer Antoinette Frank to an execution date after nearly 3 decades on death row. Criminal District Court Judge Kimmy Holmes set a December hearing for Frank to fight her 1995 conviction and death sentence in an infamous triple murder, denying a motion to dismiss her post-conviction claims. Holmes also refused to allow Merrill's office or the private attorneys she hired to represent the state in the case. The ruling amounted to a round rejection of Merrill's argument that Frank let her claims languish too long and a rebuke of the Republican Attorney General's efforts to inject herself in the case to speed up the pace of executions. Louisiana resumed the practice in March after 15 years. So what I see right now is that there's a push. We happy that we're trying to get rid of some of these folks that are on death row. I want to know how you feel about the death row situation. Death row. Execution. They want to get her in the chamber. Are you for this one or no? Are you for, and I want to say, make it a broad statement, or are you for the execution of folks? I'm talking about this one individually, Antoinette Franks, which we already knew. A whole bunch of horrific stuff happened that day in New Orleans East on Bullard, when not only did she kill those owners of that restaurant, she killed her own partner. And they found her dead, buried underneath her home. And you were talking about a police officer. And Antoinette Franks is appealing her death sentence, but Liz Merrill is like, let's get it to the chamber. Come on. So the question, after decades, over 3, that she's been on death row, do we need to take her off of death row, or do you think that she needs to be on death row? And I know we're playing God here, but I don't want everybody to take it that way, because this is what we're going to be faced with very soon, very shortly. Is Antoinette Franks going to get her sentence where she's going to spend her life in prison, or does she need to be put to death? What do you think? Think about that for tomorrow. Think about that for tomorrow. Other than that, all right. Are we going 59? Okay, cool. I thought it was 56. We need to make sure that we're paying attention to these bills that are coming to court. I have seen several of my constituents that are going up to Baton Rouge that are trying to put up the good fight, and they're losing. Not because they can't do the job, because they do. It's the fact that we are looking at majority of folks that are standing on party lines instead of thinking about what's going to happen to them. And what we've got to be able to do is hear, hey, here's the catastrophe that is coming in front of you, and they don't care if you know it or not. They're just going to go forward. Some of the catastrophes that are coming out of Baton Rouge that are not only just making it out of committee, they're making it into or onto, that's what I'll say, onto the floor. if they make it on the floor and they become bills, become the law, then we really gonna have some problems. So we're gonna reach out to some folks. We want to hear from the Delicias. We want to hear from our senators as well. We want to talk to the congressman, just like you heard from our representative today that says, hey, we got a problem with this. But the lady is blatantly saying, yeah, we want more white judges, and yeah, we don't want you all no more. So we got a problem with this. Uh-oh. Hitting you in the face and looking at you and saying what? I am hitting you in the face, and I don't care what you say. I'm doing it. That's what we're getting now. Lastly, but not least, my heart's very heavy today as we have found out that the little 9-year-old girl shot in the head in Algiers, she is brain dead. Miss Little Leilani Brooks, who was playing outside of her apartment complex on Monday and was trying to run back inside or run toward the apartment complex to get her baby sister. And protect her from the gunfire when a bullet went through the window and struck Miss Leilani in the head. This family is going through a whole lot right now, and I can imagine, I hope not to imagine, what you feel. But we want to say to you our condolences, and we also want to say may she rest in peace and may she rest in heaven. We know she's a baby, but we want her to rest in heaven. To the Rogers family, Evan Rogers, 18 years old, who had to deal with that supposedly, I should say, supposedly came from your gun. You now arrested by U.S. Marshals in connection with the shooting at the motel. You had to go to the motel. They found you. Marshals say that Rogers faces attempted second-degree murder, illegal use of weapons, and dangerous instrument charges. Ain't worth it, is it? It ain't worth it. We'll talk about this death row issue tomorrow and see what you say. We'll have some guests too. All right, coming up, Arnie and Carrie is up next. Y'all have a great rest of the day. I will see y'all on tomorrow.